Irrational fear of, aversion to, or discrimination against obesity or people of obesity. That is the definition of fatphobia by the Collins Dictionary. Diet culture in the 21st century is just the tip of the iceberg of the origins of fatphobia, which spans all the way back to the transatlantic slave trade. As someone a part of a generation born with social media, we have been exposed to Western culture and that encourages and instills toxic body images with young females. My co-host,
Tivona,
Catherine,
and I, Britney, will delve into the stigma surrounding fatphobia and its connections to economic inequalities and discrimination.
so how does fatphobia relate to our economy?
I'm glad you asked. Fatphobia origin spans back to the transatlantic slave trade. Due to the fear of losing white control, fatphobia had become a way to separate the whites and the blacks. Fatphobia correlated to African savagery, crime, deformity, and uncivilized. This especially impacted African American women from fearing the black body, the racial origins of fatphobia. Obesity had been a nationwide problem for decades due to easy access to being able to eat junk food through fast food restaurants. It has cost us approximately $173 billion annually in medical costs and will push up to $1.7 trillion annually by the hidden costs of obesity. To counter obesity, diet culture came to a rise to solve this problem, but it instead had made things worse. Dieting can have serious and long-lasting consequences, such as increasing the risk of heart disease and insulin resistance. Although the risks of dieting could reduce one's lifespan, our economy still has spent $30 billion on diet and weight loss products annually from what is diet culture. Not only are these individuals' surrounding resources not helping them, people have further oppressed them as lazy, unhealthy, and unattractive people from an evolution of fatness in Western culture. Instead of wasting money on false advertisement or promotion of diet culture, we should instead embrace the way we look, despite not living up to other people's expectations, and support the journeys of those who decide to lose weight.
Women, especially young girls, have been subjected to the idea that being fat refers to unattractiveness, laziness, and inferiority. This toxic mentality that starts at a young age leads to diet culture that is furthered through commercialization and mass media. Even though we know that it is wrong, there are many of us who have a subconscious bias to thinner body types. This is especially prominent within the workforce, where individuals are hired because of their customer-facing positions. We are in a time where people have begun to speak out about body norms, especially body images often shown in Western culture. For example, the Barbie movie, Turning Red, and the distribution of more representation within the toy industry. This topic is really important to me to touch upon because as someone who identifies as Asian American and a female, it was rare to see representation of my race and body type. At a young age, I was exposed to the idea that I should have a small waist, have a thigh gap, and thinner arms. I was often told to diet more because even if some part of me fit the standard, another part of me didn't. It became a never-ending cycle to constantly change my body to fit the image everyone had of me. My group decided to choose this topic to challenge the idea of a perfect body. By addressing and informing on the statistics on the underlying impacts it has on individuals within this group, we hope to shed light on how our society has become. It is not too late to change society's views.
Obesity is one of the biggest issues in our world right now, whether that is due to the inaccessibility of healthy foods or the rise of binge eating and junk food. Although diet culture has claimed to be combating this issue, they are only spending money on diet products instead of spending money to solve obesity. This, paired with the rise in fatphobia and the shaming of those who are even a little bit overweight, has a massive impact on the media that is posted online, such as body checking on TikTok and Instagram. The general mental state of teenagers and those who are susceptible to this type of content is in danger at this moment. It is very harmful to expect young girls, especially, to fit into these standards and buy all these products to get as skinny as they can get. Although this culture spans all the way back to the transatlantic slave trade, it is ever so present today, and we must work to lower the obesity rate but also to destigmatize fatness.